Hey, what's going on guys, it's CLZ and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. And today we're talking about a problem I possibly see with the DCU about some of its identity. And what I mean by that is that the DCU projects are very tonally different and stylistically different. And my two biggest examples are Peacemaker and Superman, and there are some other ones that have come out like Creature Commandos, but I think the biggest projects are Superman and Peacemaker. And what really made me come to this realization of how these two are so tonally different is watching the new Peacemaker episode. I didn't realize how raunchy Peacemaker gets and how just like not kid friendly it is compared to Superman. And if you watch the first episode, there's going to be a few episode spoilers, nothing too major. There's like a huge fucking orgy in Peacemaker, and he's doing rails and smoking weed. I don't know how they're going to mix that in with Superman and Peacemaker, because at some point Peacemaker will be part of the bigger DC universe. He already is. I mean, he made a cameo, spoiler alert, in Superman. So he's definitely going to be a big part of this universe. He's actually going to be like a side character of his own little show. Like, let's just say you had someone who didn't know much about the DCU and you told them to watch Peacemaker and Superman. They probably wouldn't be able to guess that they're in the same universe, just based on the tones and styles of the two different projects. Like, the contrast of Superman and Peacemaker is just so wide. You have like a fan-friendly, kid-friendly Superman, you know, you could bring the kids out to go watch it. I don't even think they say the F word in that movie. And then you have Peacemaker, which you probably wouldn't even let your kids go watch. It's an adult-only show. But the thing is, this is all purposeful by James Gunn. He wants the DCU to be different. He wants the different projects to have their own styles and tones and uniqueness, something totally different from Marvel. I think James Gunn wants to not follow the exact Marvel formula and make something of his own, which I can totally respect. A big problem with the Marvel movies is that they felt all the same because they were all tonally the same, they were all stylistically the same. None of them felt that different, which was a big problem with Marvel. It felt like when you were seeing one movie and you went the next year to see another movie, they were almost the exact same films, just with different characters. And I think that's what led to a lot of superhero fatigue and just Marvel fatigue in general, and what led to the rise of shows like Invincible and The Boys. These projects I listed are still about superheroes, but they're completely tonally different from anything Marvel has made. They're more raunchy, they're more realistic, and they have more complex themes and emotions in them, which people want. And that's why people flock to it, so they could still get their superhero fix, but it could be different from what they've been seeing for the past decade. So I completely understand Peacemaker and why James Gunn wants to have his projects be totally different from each other and have their own uniqueness. It makes it a lot better of an experience to go watch whatever DCU makes, because you don't know what you're gonna get. So me personally, I really like that James Gunn is making his projects very unique. He's making these things their own types of things, not trying to worry about this whole thing of like he mentioned, watching basically a long movie. He didn't want his projects to be like that. He wanted them to all have their own uniqueness, which I love. But I think a big problem he's going to run into is when he tries to put these characters together in a movie. I think at some point Peacemaker will be in a Superman movie, he will be in a Green Lantern show or movie or a Batman movie at some point, right? You would think. He's already pretty big. If you give him a cameo in Superman, you would, you know, generally believe he's going to be a big part of the DCU. So I just don't know how you're going to mix these characters together. I don't know how you have Peacemaker and Superman on screen without at least dumbing down Peacemaker. And what I mean by that is just not giving him his edge, not making him as funny. You know, when he shoots people, no gore, no blood, yada yada, which, you know, most people won't have a big problem with. But I think when you have the people who are big Peacemaker fans, they love Peacemaker, and they want to see him interact with the other characters in the universe, and then you just dumb him down and make him not as, you know, why people love him and why people love the show is the raunchy comedy, the complex themes, the extreme gore and nudity. These are the things that make Peacemaker and why people like Peacemaker. He's not this like type of run-of-the-mill superhero. I mean, his dad is literally a fucking Klans member. I don't know how you mix that in with Golden Boy, love everybody Superman that's meant for the kiddies. Like, these characters contrast each other so much that it's actually funny. It's hilarious how much these characters are different, and they're gonna have to be at some point on the same screen at some point. And to me, I just don't know how you do. I don't know how you make that happen. I don't know how you make it smooth and not make it to where you're making Peacemaker not Peacemaker, which I fear it will happen, because that's the only way you could actually have him on screen. There's no way that he's gonna make it to where Superman's all for the kids, all that, but then they have like, I don't know, like a more connected movie, I don't know what it would be, and you have Peacemaker in there, like, it's just gonna be weird, because the only way Peacemaker will be in there, as I mentioned, is if he's dumbed down to where he's just not even the Peacemaker people fell in love with. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want Peacemaker to be thrown in and then they're trying to make him match, you know, the tones of Superman in whatever Justice League movie they make, or whatever connected movies they make. And the problem is, as the DCU expands and keeps getting bigger, they're gonna run into more problems like this, because Peacemaker isn't the only project that they're gonna have that has its type of uniqueness and more of a raunchy type feel. They're gonna make other projects like this that are like Peacemaker, maybe not the same as as extreme, but they're gonna make things similar to it. I don't know how you mix that in with Superman. The thing with Marvel is that, yes, the movies were very the same and it got kind of annoying, but it made it incredibly easy to have these characters in the same movies and make them interact, because they're very tonally the same. They're very stylistically the same. There was no rated R Marvel movies. They were all very much the same way for the kids. It had the same style. You know, they were meant to be watched by the same audience, you know, throughout its whole runtime, which did lead to some problems for Marvel, but it made it super easy to have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know, meld really well together. And that's just the big problem I see with the James Gunn DCU, of how different all of his characters will be. And once again, I really respect that. I love what he's doing. I love that he's taking this chance and taking this leap to make his characters more unique, more different, make it better for the fans. But it's just going to be really hard to have these things meet. Like, I just don't know how the DCU will make all their projects connect and make it smooth. But if anyone can pull it off, it's James Gunn. I think he can possibly find some way to make it work, and if he does, it will be huge for the DCU, because as I was mentioning, it's awesome as a fan to be able to watch one project and watch another and see they're completely different. It's like reading comics, right? With Marvel, everything was such the same. There wasn't a lot of creative inspiration. And another thing I love about James Gunn is he's giving other directors more creative inspiration, writers more creative inspiration, so they can make projects that feel more personal and meaningful to them. Now, they're not trying to write in some mold or some template of what DC wants for them, unlike Marvel. And if DC figures out how to make these unique characters mix well into, you know, connected movies and TV shows, I think DC will have a very profitable next couple of years. My only problem with the DCU is the idea that they could possibly favoritize one style. And it probably, if they do favoritize one, it probably would be the Superman style of being more kid-friendly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just more profitable and marketable to have movies and connected, you know, movies and TV shows that are meant for the kids. You know, the whole audience can watch it, you know. Not everyone can watch Peacemaker. So it's definitely going to be interesting seeing the DCU find its own identity and see what it's about and see how they handle their characters and their different unique projects. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys later. Peace, peace.